When people think about forests, most think about life, endless stretches of green trees, birds singing in the morning, streams winding through ancient vegetation. But there are forests that are completely different. There, almost every living thing has evolved to survive through competition, hunting, or self-defense. A careless step can lead to a predator's bite, insect venom, aquatic parasites, or plants capable of inflicting terrible pain. The scariest thing isn't the beasts lurking in the shadows. The frightening thing is that the entire ecosystem seems to operate like a perfect machine, with humans not being the main characters. And upon entering those places, we quickly realize a truth. Nature was not created to serve humankind. Today, we'll explore 5 of the planet's most dangerous forests, where a single misstep could remind us who truly rules this world. If there is one place on Earth that allows us to look back at the planet's past tens of millions of years ago, it is probably Daintree. Located in northeastern Australia, Daintree is considered one of the oldest surviving rainforests on the planet. While many other forests have appeared and disappeared over time, this ecosystem has survived for tens of millions of years of evolution. Imagine a forest that existed before humans came into being. From before the first cities were built, even before many modern animal species appeared. That's why Daintree looks like a world from another era. But that incredibly long lifespan also creates an ecosystem where almost every organism possesses terrifying survival mechanisms. The first threat emerged right at the rivers and estuaries. That's a saltwater crocodile. Unlike the image of slow-moving crocodiles in zoos, saltwater crocodiles in Australia are among the most dangerous predators on the planet. They can grow to over 6 meters in length, lie in ambush entirely underwater, and attack with incredible speed. Each year, warning signs appear throughout the Daintree area to remind visitors that calm waters do not mean safety. But that wasn't the strangest thing. Because one of the most dangerous creatures of this forest cannot run, cannot fly, and cannot chase anyone. It is a tree. Gympie, often called the world's most painful plant, has its entire stem and leaves covered in tiny, venomous hairs. Even a light touch can cause intense, excruciating pain that can last for weeks, months, or even longer in some cases. Some victims describe the sensation as like being repeatedly electrocuted combined with a persistent, unending thermal burn. In much of the world, plants are symbols of life. In Daintree, plants can also become a formidable defense system. And then the forest introduced another character, cassowary. At first glance, this giant bird looks almost harmless. But many biologists consider cassowary to be one of the closest living descendants of ancient dinosaurs. They can be nearly 2 meters tall, weigh tens of kilograms, and possess sharp claws capable of inflicting serious injuries. When threatened, cassowaries can become a formidable opponent that even other predators avoid confronting. And this is where local stories begin to emerge. For years, some indigenous people have told stories of Yowie, a mysterious creature believed to lurk in the wild forests of Australia. Other stories speak of spirits protecting the forest, or an invisible will always present among the ancient trees. Science has found no evidence to support those legends. But science offers another explanation that is equally interesting. Daintree is the product of tens of millions of years of continuous evolution. During that vast period, animals and plants constantly developed increasingly effective survival mechanisms. Every thorn, every venom, every hunting tactic is the result of a prolonged competition spanning countless generations. That's why this forest sometimes feels like it's against humans, not because it has consciousness, because it was never created for humans. Daintree reminds us of a simple but often forgotten truth. Nature doesn't need giant fangs or mythical monsters to be dangerous. Sometimes, just a leaf, a stream of water, or a seemingly ordinary creature is enough to remind us that humans are merely temporary guests in the world of nature. On a modern world map, there is a road that almost connects 2 continents. That is the Trans-American Highway, a road system tens of thousands of kilometers long, running from Alaska in the far north all the way to South America. But amidst that vast transportation network, there exists a gap. a gap less than 200 kilometers long, and for decades, that void has thwarted almost every human attempt to conquer it. That place is called Darien Gap. Located between Panama and Colombia, the Darien Gap is a dense forest that forms a natural boundary between North and South America. On a map, it appears as just a green strip between the two countries, but the reality inside is completely different. Imagine a place where roads disappear. Communication signals have become unreliable. Tropical rains can turn pathways into muddy swamps in just a few hours. The rivers appeared unexpectedly and cut off all the roads ahead. Here, modern civilization seems to have stalled at the edge of the forest. One of the most famous stories involving the Darien Gap dates back to the 1970s, when a convoy of Chevrolet off-road vehicles attempted to demonstrate that crossing the area was entirely feasible. In theory, they possessed the most modern vehicles available at the time. But Darien Gap wasn't interested in theory. The cars kept getting stuck in the deep mud. The treacherous terrain forced the entire group to move at an incredibly slow pace. Every kilometer becomes a battle with nature. Ultimately, the journey lasted much longer than anticipated and became clear evidence that modern technology doesn't always triumph over natural terrain. But what's happening today is even harsher. Every year, thousands of migrants still attempt to cross the Darien Gap in search of a new life. Many people enter the forest with hope. Not everyone can get out of there. Illness, exhaustion, accidents, dangerous animals, and violence have made the Darien